Why are your investments going down? How do taxes factor into your retirement number? And why does your stupid credit score keep bouncing around? Let's find out. Welcome back to the Personal Finance Club show. Hey, Jen.
Jeremy, I've got a question for you.
What do you got?
What is the least amount of money you've Venmo requested someone?
Venmo requested?
Yeah, what's the least amount of money you've asked someone for Venmo?
Isn't
Venmo.
Requesting like a big faux pas? I feel like any sort of Venmo request, like I feel like a Venmo request is like the most passive aggressive thing. Be like, I don't think.
No, are you ever like in a group of friends and it's like, oh, just request me for how much? Like once you figure out the bill.
I don't think we do it that way. I'll say, maybe I'll like do it if it's a group text or something. If it's in person, I'll just tell them what to send me, but I don't actually send the request through Venmo. I feel like that's like very passive aggressive. It's like, oh, you didn't trust me to go to Venmo and do it myself. You had to like put it on paper. You had to like lock in that number.
That's funny. That's a funny perspective, period. I didn't know that was a thing. I just feel like, instead of being like, send me I'd just be like, oh, like, just when you, we all did an escape room. Like, once you figure out how much it is with like, just tell me, like, put it in my Venmo.
I don't know. For me, that feels like, at this point, the culture of these apps migrates over time. For me, at this point in time, that feels like that'd be an offensive thing to do. I would just say, hey, can you Venmo me? And if they don't, I guess for me, I would just like let it go because I'm not like, I'm to a point financially where I can weather it and I'd rather just, I would maybe like take a little mental note, like don't loan that person money again. I think like the exception is I like run a fantasy football league and I do need to like collect the entry fee from everyone. And if I don't from everyone, it's like not fair or whatever.
Yeah.
But even that, I don't think I do a Venmo request. I think it'd just be a text like, yo, you haven't sent me the money yet. Because I don't know.
Yeah, I remember like one time I was going to a this is not the least amount because it was like a hotel. We were like in Joshua Tree for a wedding, but I was like I was like itemizing the hotel or something like or something with my friend, and she was like, I don't care about this stuff. You can just send me a Venmo request for however how much it is. Because it was like a couple of things. It was like, oh, we got a gift for her and we split lunch and we paid for the hotel. It was just like, she's like, once you figure it out, just send me the request and then like I will just literally pay it. Because in my mind, I was like, I don't want you to think like the hotel was only $131 and then you know. So like those
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong about this. Like, I think it's like incredibly convenient. I think it's direct. It's transparent. I think sending a Venmo request is like the like correct, transparent thing to do. I just feel like it's kind of like kind of passive aggressive for some reason.
That's so funny.
Do you ever use one of those like bill splitting? There's like this app where if like 6 people go on a trip together and 3 people do an excursion and 5 people share an expensive bottle of wine, you can like itemize like who is in for what, and then it like minimizes who has to pay who what. It's like, okay, if Joe pays Beth $50 and Sandy pays Jim $30, then like everyone's square. Do you use one of those?
I've never used one. However, my friend who's getting married in October has confirmed that her bachelorette will be in Aruba in September, basically on my 40th birthday weekend. And so I have a feeling like there's already a spreadsheet. We've already sent out a Google form to like the bridal party. So I have a pretty good feeling we're going to be using one of those for that.
The app is Splitwise, by the way. I forgot the name. Splitwise, not sponsored. Never talked to him, but like I think it's pretty nice. And everyone's got their own account. You can like add your own expenses, and then it just kind of like makes it really simple with like.
Maybe we'll use that for Aruba.
You should do it better than the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet can get messy because the spreadsheet
is like, what do you want Sarah to walk away from this experience with? It's more like, or like, do you have a valid passport? And like, are you going to come?
That should be a Pinterest. That's too.
No. Well, there's other logistics. Like, do you have dietary restrictions? Are you going to come? Do you have a passport? Like those things that we need to know. Like, what is the likelihood that you're going to make it? We're in the beginning stages because my friend is very indecisive. So like, but I have a feeling that since we're already starting in spreadsheet land and Google form land, that it will go to like some kind of app for splitting the money. I have a feeling.
Okay, that's fair. Do have a massive spreadsheet for my upcoming wedding in January. So I love my spreadsheet people.
Yes.
All right, let's get on with it. Enough chit chat, Jen. We gotta get down to business. Let's
oh my
make some
God.
money.
But I just love chatting with you, Jared.
Oh my gosh. Well, we got to pay some bills with all of our ads.
Let's pay some bills.
With our zero advertisers.
Yeah, our sponsor of the day is Reddit. So let's get into our hot topic. So I'm on
Just
Reddit
to be
right
clear,
now.
Reddit is not sponsoring this. Reddit's not aware of our existence. But the reason you said that, Jen, is because...
Well, I did this against my will. I get on Reddit like once a year. Actually, it's so funny. I had asked a question about my keyboard and I didn't realize that someone had answered it because I have not been on Reddit since I put the post up. And I was like, oh, somebody tried to answer. They were not helpful. But anyway, so I'm on Reddit and there's a post here that says the title of the post, or what do you guys call it? Do you call them posts? I don't know. Do you call them R's?
Yeah, it's a post. The R would be the subreddit, I think.
See, I don't know. So this post says, new to investing, is this normal? And they have a screenshot of their Fidelity app. Do you want to explain what the screenshot is and then we'll talk about it?
Yeah, it's essentially, it shows an account value of $2,800 and then it shows like a line chart going from left to right. And it looks like it's dramatically crashing top left to bottom right, just like a jagged line all the way down to the corner. That said, this app does what most financial apps do, which doesn't show zero on the y-axis. Because if it showed zero, kind of everything would just look like a flat line at the top. Like all the crashes we hear about in the market aren't actually that huge relative to the total amount of money. And so the y-axis goes from $3,000 to $2,800, and they're down, according to this chart, about $200 over their first month of investing. And this was back in early 2026 when this post was made during the beginning of the Iran war, financial crash. When you're hearing this is either going to be a very hot topic because the market will be currently crashing, or this will be an incredibly cold topic because the market's screaming upwards. But trust me, at some point, probably in the next year, you're going to be like, ooh, the market went down a lot the last few weeks. What should I do? And that's what this person's thinking, because they said...
You want me to read this? Okay.
Yeah, read it.
Okay, great. I didn't know if you wanted to read it. Okay, so this is exciting. Opened a Fidelity account recently and contributed a total of $3,000 into a Roth IRA, $2,000 into FXAIX, and $1,000 into FSKAX. Ever since then, my investments barely went past $3,000 and have only stagnated downwards. I understand this is the long game and it takes many years to see substantial gains, but it's quite disheartening checking my Roth for it to constantly only be net negative and barely gone up once. Any insight would be appreciated.
So I actually like this post because it's really a common sentiment among young investors or new investors who just started. And to this person's credit, like, good job. You put in $3,000 into a Roth IRA. Amazing. You picked two investments, which, like, if I'm going to be a little bit critical, FXAIX is the Fidelity 500. It's basically like the biggest 500 U.S. companies. And FSKX is the Fidelity Total U.S. Stock Market Fund, which means they have almost complete overlap. The total stock market, 80% of it is the S&P 500. And they perform virtually identically. And so, this new investor bought two things when they could have just bought one thing, because one is a subset of the other. And if I'm going to be get a little more critique, they probably could have invested. If they're going to buy multiple things, it shouldn't be two U.S. stock index funds that perform almost identically. It should be a U.S. stock index fund and, for example, an international stock index fund, so they actually get real diversification in different companies. As I'm saying this, I'm looking at my stock ticker app, and today...
I was wondering who you were texting down there.
I think this is out of date, but the S&P 500 was like up 1%, but the international markets were up like 2.5%. And so, it's nice whereas the S&P 500 and the total stock market are virtually in lockstep. So, yeah, and in fact, the S&P 500, as of today, when we're recording, S&P 500 up 1.46%, total stock market up 1.42%. So that's how it always is. They're almost identical. But the international market, my international ETF, is up 2.61%. So, to this person, amazing start. If I'm going to make a critique, I'd probably swap out one of your two U.S. stock market mutual funds and choose an international market fund. That said, what you're feeling is very common. You're like, you've heard so much great things about investing. This is how people get rich. You put money in, it goes up with time, and yours is going down. You would have been better off not doing this. What gives? And you're, technically right. Had you just not invested for this month, you'd have about $200 more. But the thing is, you bought shares. And the reason you bought shares is because you want to acquire more and more and more shares. And so I actually have a post on this. And if you're just listening, I'm going to describe it. If you're watching, you can see it right here. But it says, how to be stressed. On the top half of the page, it says how to be stressed. And it says, focus on the share price. And it shows a chart virtually identical to what this person posted, a red line, the jagged going down, right? Thinking, oh my gosh. And maybe I haven't posted this around the same time. But then it says below that, how to be rich. Focus on the number of shares. And so when this person invested, they bought a certain number of shares of their 2 index funds, and they own the exact same number of shares. And then the chart, instead of going jagged down with the price, it's just showing kind of like a staircase going up, right, these steps. Because every time you buy more shares, you are kind of like taking a step up this ever increasing staircase. And one day, years or decades in the future, like you're going to hope the share price is higher than it is now. And it almost certainly will be. But that's when you're kind of worried about the share price when you're selling, not when you're buying. In fact, a new investor like this should be thrilled the market went down because they can go put in their next $3,000 into their Roth IRA and get even more shares and get a bigger step up in that staircase for the same amount of money. So for young investors, you should be happy when the price goes down because you're a buyer. Warren Buffett famously said, if you're a net buyer of stocks, which means like in any given month or year, you're buying more than you're selling, you want lower prices. You should be cheering downward stock market because you get more shares for the same price. That said, you're like, what this poster might be really asking is, why is it down? Or like, isn't it supposed to go up? I have another post called The Odds of Winning that's shown here. If you're just listening, I'll describe it. It says, hey, if you invest on any one day of the stock market, and Jen, are you looking at this? Do you know the answer?
No, I'm not looking at it.
Okay, good. So let me ask you then. If you invest in one day, like pick a random day throughout the history of the stock market, what are the odds that the market goes up on that day? Like, what are the % chance you think the market goes up? Oh, wait,
no, I did see the thing, so I can't answer this. Sorry. Because 53%, right?
53. Okay, you got it dead on. Look at that.
I looked at it before.
She could have just lied and said it.
I could have. I feel like my guess is going to be really so far off that you would probably know.
You're like 99.9%. The market never goes down.
You're like, oh, you really didn't see the chart.
That's an honest guess. Did not cheat. But yeah, on any one day, it's 53%, which basically means like 47, 53. It's like almost a coin flip. It's like almost as likely to go down as it is to go up. But, it's almost like the edge at the casino, which is like, yeah, sure, the casino might win 53% of blackjack hands, but like over time, that adds up to a lot. And so if you say, okay, extend it to a month. If you invest in any random month instead of a day, your odds aren't 53% chance of going up. It's 62%. So like, okay, any given month. And, this poster who said, hey, the last month I'm down, that's unfortunate. You kind of got the short end of that stick, which is you got the 38%. 38% of months are down, 60% to 62% are up. Since this person posted, the market's actually screamed up and we're at all-time high. So the next 2 months or whatever it's been have been up months, but that's kind of what that stat shows. It's like 62% is about 2/3 up, 1/3 down. And the month you start might be a down month, and that's okay. Now, if we extend it to a year, if you look at any random year in history, what are the odds that year is up? The answer is 74%. So if you pick a random year in the past and say, did the market go up or down that year? 74% chance. Now we're at like, 3/4. The market was up. Still, the first year you invest, there's a 26% chance you might be down, which would feel like a bummer. Like, oh man, my first year investing, I put in $10,000. At the end of the year, I only have 9,600 or only have 9,100 or whatever it is. Yeah, that feels like a bummer, but that's just the 26%. That's kind of the odds of it. Now let's talk about 10 years. If you look at every 10-year window in history, what percent of those are up? Turns out 95% of those are up. There's only like a few 10-year, really like perfectly timed windows where you're like, okay, I'm actually down during this 10-year window. Then if you look at a 15-year window, you've never been down. So there's no down. And you might be thinking, you might be conflating, oh, I'm not down with I'm equal. No, you're not even. On average, you're up 10% per year. And so those average 15-year windows, you're not even, you're actually like 4x, because if you put in 10,000 at the beginning of that window, you've probably doubled twice during that period, which means you probably have $40,000. Like in the worst 15-year window ever, it wasn't even down. In the worst 10-year window, you might be down a little bit, but in the worst 15-year window, you've never been down. But in the average 15-year window, you're up about 4x. And so, to those worried about being in a down market early on, that's okay. That's actually good. You want to be able to buy, since you're a net buyer of stocks, you want to be able to buy more shares for less money, and that describes those new investors. And so, don't feel bad about feeling this way. It definitely doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like popping champagne to see less money than you put in. And you definitely can make the hindsight argument, oh, I wish I would have just waited a month and put the money in then. Sure, but we didn't know that. And you played the odds, which is the earlier you put the money in, and the longer you stay in, the better your odds. And so this person, you're doing it right. Just got to kind of shift that mentality and say, hey, I just want to acquire more and more and more shares. Don't really worry what someone's willing to pay me for these shares right now, because I'm not selling for a long time.
Yeah, it is interesting. Admittedly, when I grabbed this post, I didn't realize it was only a month. So I'm like, it is interesting to invest in the total stock market and then look at it after a month, because that's like not really the point. But I also like the question, because I think that that's something that if you were putting money in and you were worried about it, it's a good question to ask early, as opposed to waiting a year and then be like, oh shit, I was doing the wrong thing, or I picked the wrong, ticker symbol or whatever it may be. Like I'd rather have a person ask that after a month and realize that they're on the right path than ask after too long. But I just think it's funny to like, knowing how this goes, it's funny to ask after like only 30 days.
But like, that because you're a co-host of the Personal Finance Club show, but your average investor, it's kind of like, if you build a boat and you set it out to sail, you're probably going to be looking for leaks immediately,
Right,
if it's like gushing water, you're like, we need to do something about this right away. And so, just like you said, they're looking at it to see if they're doing it right, and they're kind of asking like, what's up here? I thought I was supposed to be making money, I'm losing money, and only that long-winded explanation I just gave says, no, you're doing it right. It looks perfect, other than maybe putting in some international there, but it's just part of the process. We just gotta keep investing early and often. Follow two
Okay,
rules.
well, I'm gonna remember to, once this episode's live, I'm gonna put it in the description, or I'm gonna reply to our post.
Oh, do it. Although Reddit will probably ban you for self-promotion.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, if you like say, oh, check out my podcast, we answered your question, they're probably going to ban us or ban your account.
So many rules I didn't know about.
Okay. Reddit mods are like just utter total dicks, and they like don't give warnings. So it's like, it's funny because like I'll make an original post, someone will take my post, crop my logo off, share it, like host it on a different platform as if it's their own or as if it's whatever, and then gets 1 million upvotes and everyone like celebrates it. But then if I come in and be like, hey, like that's my post, they're like, hey, no self-promotion, get out of here. So I'm like, wait, so like, you can steal my content and that's celebrated, but if I like post my own content, I'm like a pariah. That happens to me all the time in Reddit.
1 million upvotes, that sounds like a lot.
Well, maybe not 1 million, maybe 10,000. I'm sure I've gotten, I think maybe on aggregate with all my stolen posts, I've probably got 1 million upvotes.
Okay, nice.
Who knows? And if I can convert those to Stanley Nichols or Schrute bucks, I'm going to be a Schrute millionaire.
The Office. Wow. Once again, very topical, although I did start rewatching. I said it was time. I'm like 3 episodes into season 1. I'm like, this is definitely worth the rewatch.
I skipped season 1. I can't deal with Michael's hair and that. Just too...
insanity.
Yeah.
That's like the best Jim and Pam. Like the when they will, they won't, they for real. Ugh.
Oh, that lasted like 6 seasons though.
That's true. Okay, anyway, shall we move on to... Do you want to have your question answered on the show? Go to personalfinanceclub.com/ask. Can I ask a dumb one?
You're asking smart questions to a dumb dude. What do we got today?
We have an audio question. Our boy Chris is back because none of y'all are sending in audio questions. We even have a nice form and page set up for you, and you know where to go. Personalfinanceclub.com/ask, which there'll be a little clip before this anyway. But yeah, so we had to double dip with Chris because he's the only one asking audio questions. So
to be fair, Jen, before you go blaming our listeners, we haven't, we just recently made it easier to ask an audio. Look at this shot.
Fine, it's been like one episode.
Exactly. And it hasn't even aired yet. So, but yeah, the point is get those audio and video questions in, and it's going to greatly increase your odds of getting on the show.
Yeah, Chris jumped back to the top of the line. Okay, so Jeremy, let's play this and talk about it.
Hello, Jeremy and Jen. Chris, the airport arm toucher guy here. Following up with another question based on your recent Instagram post about different types of fire. As a fellow lean fire DIYer based out of San Diego here, the goal is to start looking at retiring in 4 years. I always get a little confused on whether taxes should be included in that number and at what thresholds federally and locally taxes are applied or not applied. Like, is it at 80,000 federally, there's no taxes for taking money out of your brokerage account or not? I'm always a little confused around that. If you could speak to that and tell me how you would model it. Obviously, being 4 years away, I have time to plan, and when I get closer, I'll use a tax professional, but just want some basic concepts from you. Thank you both for all you do and appreciate the podcast. Keep up the good work. Cheers.
Great question. Thank you again for touching my arm at the airport, which I may or may not remember. If you don't know what he's talking about, you have to go find the previous episode of the Personal Finance Club show where we talk about airport arm touching. Mm-hmm. But he asked a question which a lot of people ask, which is, I'm trying to calculate my fire number. Is it pre or post tax? And then as soon as you say pre or post tax, I think there's like this abstract haze of uncertainty that just swarms your brain. You're like, now I don't know what's real and what's fake. And is this a real number? Is this a fake number? And so I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible, which, by the way, is not simple because we're trying to.
I was about to say, I don't believe you.
Digest the U.S. tax code into 5 minutes of podcast time, but I'll do my best. So I'll start by saying here, I guess the baseline is when you talk about calculating a fire number, basically how big does your investment portfolio need to be so you can live off of it forever without needing to work again? Kind of the rule of thumb a lot of us use in the fire community is 25 times your annual expenses. So for example, if you spend $100,000 per year, you multiply 100,000 times 25, you get 2.5 million. And now your fire number is 2.5 million. If you get there, you'll be able to live on $100,000 a year and be very unlikely to ever go broke. If you are very early in your journey, don't even worry about what Chris is asking. Worry about getting a 2.5 million. Then we can figure out, does it need to be 2.6 or 2.4 or whatever. Projecting this more than a few years away just becomes so, becomes kind of like lost in the wash of investment growth and things like that. So don't let these types of nuanced fine-tuning questions distract you from what matters. The 2 rules: spend less than you make, invest the difference, keep doing that over time. You're going to get rich. It's going to be great. Okay. That said, I look at taxes just as though they're an expense. And so this pre-tax, post-tax thing, let's look at your actual expenses. Let's say in your sample budget, like when I retire, I'm going to spend $2,000 on rent, $1,000 on food, $1,000 on a car, and $1,000 on taxes. I'm going to have to pay some taxes from my budget when I am spending in retirement. If you add all those up, it's $5,000. Let's not get caught in the weeds on the specifics. That'd be an insane budget, like spending the same on car and food or whatever. But the point is, tax is just a line item in your expenses. So $5,000 a month, including $1,000 I'm going to spend on taxes, times 12 months a year is $60,000 a year, times 25, my fire number is 1.5 million. 60,000 times 25 equals 1.5 million. And so basically, you just kind of need to get a sense of what are you planning to spend on taxes in retirement. Thus, you can then calculate your fire number. And the reason I say if you're early in the journey is you don't really know what you're going to spend on anything in retirement. You don't know what your housing is going to be like. All this stuff is a little bit squishy. And so as a baseline, just take like what you're making today. Like let's say if you make $60,000 a year, you multiply that by 25, you get 1.5 million. All right, that's a pretty good target. We can fine tune it when we get closer. Okay, but let's say you're getting closer now, like Chris is, and he's saying, okay, well, what am I going to spend on taxes? And the answer is it can actually vary pretty dramatically. I'll give you some examples. Let's say all you've ever done in your whole career is contributed to Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks. So 100% of your investments are inside of a Roth account. And you plan to retire the year in which you turn 59.5. And so on January 1st of that year, you retire. Your tax bill on all of that investment will be zero. You can withdraw every penny of it on the January 1st of the year you turn 59.5, and you owe zero tax. I mean, you shouldn't, but you could. Or you can take out your 4% per year when you're 59.5 and you owe zero tax. And so your tax portion of your tax line item of your budget in that, in retirement will be zero. On the flip side, if 100% of your money is in a traditional retirement account, that means whatever you pull out, you'll have to pay income tax on. And so your tax rate will be local, state, federal, whatever it is, based on how much you're living off of. Let's say you pull out $100,000 a year, you might be paying $25,000 a year in taxes, right? And so you need to account for that. And, that basically says, $1 million in a Roth account is not the same as $1 million in a traditional account because you've already paid taxes on the Roth. So the Roth is actually much more valuable. It's worth $1 million. The traditional account is worth something less than that. A taxable account is kind of something in between because all the money you put in has already been taxed, but the growth has not yet been taxed. And that growth is taxed at a preferential capital gains tax rate. That capital gains rate can vary from 0% all the way up to 23.8%, depending on your income that year. And what Chris was referring to when he asked that part of the question was saying, hey, how much money can I take out of a taxable account and still pay zero tax? Or to kind of bring it back to before, how can I get my tax portion of my budget down to zero, thus be spending less in retirement, thus have like a lower FI number and be able to retire sooner? And the answer is you're never taxed when you take money out of a brokerage account. You're taxed when you realize gains inside of a brokerage account. And realize gains means when I sell stuff at a gain. So for example, if I put in $10,000 and it grows to $50,000, then I sell all of it and take that $50,000, sell it and do anything with it, leave it there or take it out, doesn't matter. But once I sell it, the government's going to say, hey, you just made $40,000 just now. Even though it's been growing for years, you just made $40,000 now. You owe us capital gains tax on that $40,000. You can realize up to $49,500 as a single person and double that, $98,900 as a married person, and pay 0% in capital gains tax as long as that's your only income. And so basically, if your income's less than $98,900 as a married couple, your capital gains, your long-term capital gains tax rate is zero. And so, all this to say, the U.S. tax code is kind of complex, more complex than we can totally get into, but it can vary wildly. If you're pulling out $500,000 a year and you have it all in a traditional 401k, you're going to be paying some pretty hefty tax, like approaching 50% when it comes to state and federal. If you have it all in principal in a brokerage account and below the capital gains minimum and Roth accounts, you might be paying zero. And it's probably worth knowing that as you get closer to retirement. There's a calculator at hellonectarine.com where we actually have a somewhat tax-aware, quick and easy calculator where you put in your state and you put in how much money you're taking out, and it will give you a kind of sense of how much you're going to be paying in taxes along the way, in retirement. So you can use that. Or, if you're getting close, this is probably in the talk to a financial advisor territory where you're saying, hey, I have $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is. I think I'm close here. I want to do some more serious projections, that are very tax aware. So I really know how much I can safely withdraw based on my age and based on my investments, yada, yada, yada. And for that, of course, I'd recommend going to a flat fee financial advisor. Of course, I'm biased because I started Nectarine, so you can check them out at hellonectarine.com. But a flat fee financial advisor won't have an interest in selling you a specific product or managing your money. They're going to basically just help make a plan based on the questions like Chris asked. That's it. But basically, pre-tax, post-tax confuses a lot of people, but I basically say, hey, look at your projected budget, what you're going to be spending in retirement, and plan on, figure out what you're going to spend in taxes. And if you have a mix of all three of these accounts, like, pick a number, 10%, 15%, 20% that you're going to, pay of your annual spending and taxes, and include that in your FIRE number.
Word. Love it. Thanks, Chris, for your question and for always being brave to bring an audio question to the pod.
Hope to see you in an airport and get another. What did he touch again? My shoulder?
Your arm.
My arm?
He called himself the airport arm toucher guy.
That's quite a title.
That's a good nickname.
I wonder now, is it just me, or is this his thing? He goes around airports touching
serial
people's
arm
arms.
toucher.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think an arm is
you?
like the nicest place you can touch a stranger. I think
it reminds me of like living in New York and being on the subway and being like, how do I, because people have headphones on, people are in their own little world, but you need to get by them and you're in close quarters. And it's like, I think as a woman, it's different as well. Like, so I would sometimes touch the small of someone's back to just be like, I'm safe. Like, I'm just trying to like nudge you out of the way. But like, I don't think that if a man did that to me, I'd be comfortable with that.
No, because a man would be weird about it. He'd like wrap his fingers around your waist and you'd be like, oh, now I got this issue with this dude.
Stranger danger.
But I do think the arms, like I can't, even the small of your back, like, I can see that, like, oh, I'm just moving through here. I'm trying to touch you as little as possible and avoiding your butt or whatever. But, So to Chris, the arm toucher, you touched me in the nicest possible place, I think.
Also, I'm 5'2", so for me to touch I'd be like, sir.
Yeah, she has to get she carries a stool with her and then she stands on her stool and so she can tap you on the shoulder.
Honestly, my step stool gets a lot of work done around this apartment. It's really, I don't know where I'd be without her.
I wasn't really aware of the existence of step stools. I'm 6'4", so I didn't even like know that was a thing until like we had toddlers, and like now like the toddlers are dragging the stools around, like get on the toilet, get on cabinets. I was like, oh, that's pretty useful. I think I've even used it.
It's just 2 steps, but it makes the world a difference. It makes me your height,
Yeah, and it's great up here. If you're wondering, the weather's fine.
I was just about to ask. Okay, let's move on to Scroll Patrol.
Scroll Patrol.
Yeah. Okay, I found a video on the internet. Jeremy has not seen it. We're going to watch it together. He's going to live react, and then we're going to give it a grade. So, Jeremy, click on that video. Let's watch together.
Let's see it.
Hi, my name is Cole. I'm a high school interested in finance, accounting, and economics. Today I'll be explaining the velocity of money. It measures how fast money is moving through the economy. If the same $20 bill is used to buy lunch, and the waiter uses it for a haircut, and the barber uses it to buy gas, the velocity is high. If that $20 bill stays in a piggy bank, the velocity is 0. Velocity is a key indicator of economic health. When people are confident, they spend money quickly, creating a multiplier effect that boosts GDP. If velocity drops, it usually means people are hoarding cash because they're worried about the future, which can lead up to a recession, even if the money supply is high. That was my definition of the velocity of money. Like and follow, and thank you.
Legit, Cole. He said it's Cole. Pronounced Cole, right?
Yes. Don't you just love him? I just want to can we shout out for people who are listening, go follow Econ with Cole, and it's Cole with a K, K-O-L-E. Like, I'm just Econ. I'm like, yes, young man.
No, I mean, literally, if I could invest in him, because like people, he's sitting at his laptop, like the lighting's a little bit off, like there's a ceiling fan over his head. But like, people who are that on the ball at the beginning progress, and he's going to be making like killer high res 4K, like, content. And like, it's a really good topic too. Like that's really interesting. And
he has a lot of videos and they're all just like that. And he starts them the same way. He's like, I'm a high schooler interested in finance. I'm like, oh my God, you're going to be so successful. And
see, he's got a hook, Jen.
He's got a hook, and he's just he tells you who he is. He picks a topic, and they're all like, this is like, he doesn't have a lot of views on any of them. They're like 1,000, 2,000, but that's not bad. Actually, it might be like 2,000 likes, so that's not bad. So they're not like super, they're not like super viral, but like they're all just him saying who he is and picking a topic and talking about it for like within a minute. And I'm just like so proud of him. I don't know him. I'm like, yes, this young black man talking about finance, he's going to be a millionaire.
No, he's crushing. Oh, he only has 3,000 followers. I'm following him right now. Go follow Econ with Cole
him.
with a K.
I commented. I was like, I'm instant bot. I never comment because you know when something goes a little viral and you comment and you get a million notifications like somebody liked your comment. I'm like, no, but I was like, I'm commenting. I'm like, keep it up, young man.
Yeah, no, he's crushing. It's not likes, it's views, so it's pretty low by TikTok standards. Like, it's not like he's getting thousands of likes; he's getting thousands of views, which is like the easier metric or whatever.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, to the core of his topic, like I think that's great. It's something that I don't really talk about much, and leave it to a high schooler to stump me, but we don't really talk about velocity of money, but the way he described it was great. It makes perfect sense. I feel like it's totally a recession indicator where if money comes in, money comes out, people feel like things are hot, you're spending, whereas if it gets more sluggish, I'm actually want to learn more about it. Frankly, I'm curious about how do we measure this, and can you chart this and see how it changes over time, and is it predictive of recessions and things like that. But I mean, for whatever that was, a 40-second overview, I think it wasn't even 60 seconds. That was incredible. And it makes perfect sense. I learned something new about the velocity of money. So Cole, Econ with Cole, I give you an A+. That was amazing. And you're in high school, so you're all about getting grades. And I just followed you too. So you have a TikTok. Is he on Instagram too?
Sometimes I didn't check.
Depending on who the person is, sometimes like they think it's a big deal if I follow them, because I have a lot of followers. Depending on who you ask. Let's see if he's on Instagram. Let's find out. No, he's not. Okay, he's just a TikTok. Darn. I mean, I can't blame him. He's a high schooler, but you could be. If this ever crosses your ears, Econ with Cole, you could just be like cross posting the exact same videos to every other like short form video content. Why not throw it on Instagram, YouTube? Unless he's got a different username or something. I doubt it. Maybe. I'm trying to see if he has any. He doesn't even have a link in his bio, and on TikTok. Oh, Cole, come on, man. You gotta get that. I mean, like I'm saying, like he's at the beginning, right? If you look at Mr. Beast's early videos, they were like worse than this, right? And so it's all about persistence and improvement. And the fact that he's like, churning out these videos and is keeping consistent is like a really good sign. So good. He says one's like, what is a Roth IRA? 3 money habits that have made me smarter at 15. That has 13,000 views. I should have picked that one. See, wow. That's a good hook. Outside of Beyonce, I've never been so proud of a stranger. Outside of Beyonce, it's Beyonce and Econ with Cole. It's like it's a very exclusive list. Econ with Cole has 3,000 followers, and Beyonce has 300 billion followers. Yeah. I thought that was awesome. Great job, Cole. A+. I hope you hear this one day. All right, let's move on to our last segment. Jeremy had time today. I had time. We're in the comments. You're tearing me to shreds, and this is my chance to try to defend myself. Tearing you to shreds is wild. We're all back on Instagram. You're talking about credit scores, our favorite. You break down how they're calculated, what's their importance. So do you want us give us a quick breakdown of what you said before we get into the comments? Yeah, it's too long a video to play, but it's a video basically just explaining the 5 factors of a credit score that go into your credit score. Your credit score is a number between 350 and 850, and it's based on, how many accounts you have open, have you paid your bills on time, how many new accounts you're opening, your credit utilization, and the one I forget now that I'm always guilty of, but doesn't matter. That's not really the point. But I explain how it works, and this commenter says... So once again, I don't know if they're mad at you or just like shouting into the ether and you're a sounding board, but they say, there's nothing basic about a credit score. I pay my debts on time every month, and it will still have these random 20-point swings. Like, what more do you want from me? I'm like, are they mad at you or just like credit scores in general? Yeah, I don't think they're mad at me. I think they're just shaking their fist at the sky and be like, credit scores, why are you so crazy? Yeah. And I have beef with credit scores. Okay, talk about it. We just saw a 15-year-old who was used to getting grades. And I think we spent so much of our formative years getting grades that we're all obsessed with getting a grade. And when you kind of learn about personal finance to some degree when you're an adult, and you learn that the federal government essentially through these credit bureaus are keeping a grade on you, like on your permanent record, and basically a number to describe, are you a good money boy or a bad money boy? We all feel like we have to get a good grade. And so we do things like this commenter is doing, which is like obsessed over like, why am I a bad money boy this month? My score went down by 20 points. And my overriding message here is, who cares? It doesn't matter. I look at my credit score once every couple of years. I just don't care. And this,
both of my credit cards send me alerts. They're like, your credit score has increased. And then when I sign in, it like automatically shows me. And I'm like, stop telling me this. Like, it means I've done nothing differently. Like, I pay this off every month. It's just annoying.
I do think, historically speaking, back in the early aughts, it was actually very hard to find your credit score. This was like early days of internet, and there was like a back room process for like checking a credit score on someone. Then companies learned, like Credit Karma came around, which basically gave you access to your credit score for free. And then companies came around and basically like, ooh, people like this because people are obsessed about their, am I a good money boy score? And so then they just start integrating it into your, credit card.
It's annoying though, because sometimes it'll be like credit score decrease. I'm like, what did I do differently? What is the tea?
Well, exactly. But it's implying that you've been a naughty girl. You're like,
oh my God, get off my back.
I'm going back to boy, but it's saying, you're being a bad money boy because your credit score went down. You did a bad money thing, but you didn't do a bad money thing. It's just kind of random. And so,
well, I'm back. I'm with this commenter then. Like that last sentence. Like, what more do you want from me? I kind of get it now. Like, what? Leave me alone.
So I'll answer that. I'll actually give you an answer, which is, when you have a swing, it's for one of the 5 reasons that go into your credit score. It's like the length of your credit history. That's the one I forgot earlier, by the way. Length of your credit history. Have you paid your bills on time? How much of your credit utilization are you using? Have you had recent credit inquiries? And then like your credit mix. Like, do you have a bunch of accounts or a bunch of different types of accounts? And month to month, the thing that's most likely to change is just your credit utilization. So they say, I, paid my debts on time, but that doesn't mean that your balances are the same. And so even like I do the same thing. I pay my credit card bill in full every single month, like never ever carry a balance, but I basically pay it as late as possible because I enjoy the free loan from the credit card company. And so if my credit card bill is due on the 30th of the month, I'll pay on the 28th or something, give it like a day or two buffer. But that means if, 1 month, for example, I put a $20,000 expense on my credit card that was like being repaid to me, like I paid for a big group trip or something, everyone's paying me back, and that $20,000 is sitting in my checking account, the credit checking bureau is going to be like, oh, Jeremy's got $20,000 credit card balance. He's being a naughty money boy. His credit score is going to go down. I paid it all off. My credit score, my balance goes to 0 the next day. But still, for that moment of time, I was being a naughty naughty money boy.
You're done with that phrase.
I've been saying naughty money boy a lot. No, I'm going to lean into it even more. This whole, I'm going to rename the show to the Naughty Money Boy Show. And it's going to be a picture of me topless, covering my nipples with my finger, biting my finger like this. If you haven't seen,
like the Playboy font, but it'll say Naughty Money Boy.
Yeah, Naughty Money Boy with a 45-year-old man with graying chest hair. We've never had such a sexy episode.
Goodbye.
Wait, did we just lose all of our viewers? All of our listeners? Okay.
You're watching a real-time feed.
We can just click stop on the record now, and because no one's going to ever hear the rest of these words. But the point is, your score is going to be volatile just based on your balances, or if you applied for a new card, or if you add or removed a card, or whatever. And so, and this doesn't matter. And so, when I think about my own score, I did get a mortgage when I bought my house 1.5 years ago, and for like a blink of an eye, the lender was like, "Okay, his score's over 750. Who cares?" They didn't say, "Oh, 815 would be a little better than 812." No, it's like over 750. Who cares? It's very good. If you have like a 550, then you're not going to have an easy time borrowing money. You're going to be paying much higher rates. Like if you're in like I haven't been paying my debts territory, then you're going to want to pay your loans on time and pay off your debts and get your credit score back to being healthy. But this 20-point swing just doesn't matter. And here's actually a picture of my own credit score. I just pulled it up for the first time in the last year. It's currently 815 out of 850.
Damn.
And over the last year, it ranged in value from 799 to 824. So there's a 25-point range over the past year. In the last year, I've done nothing. I haven't taken a loan. I haven't paid a loan. I literally just pay my credit card bill in full. But I think that range must just be this weird combination of length of credit history and my rotating balance and all that stuff. And so you can see it's like kind of a jagged line, and I literally do nothing. And so, commenter, what do they want from you? And the answer is they don't want anything from you. I think it's like a 20-point swing is actually a relatively narrow window. A 200-point swing would be significant. If I went from 750 to 550, that would be a big problem. But if I go from 790 to 770, who cares? 815 to 795, who cares? And I don't even think over 750 there's really, it's not like if you come in with an 848, the banks would be like, you're the best little money boy ever. You get the best rate. Like, they don't care. They're like, okay, if you're 848 or you're 760s too, they're like, okay, this person pays their bills in time. Like, that part of it, we're not concerned about anymore. Like, they're concerned about, do you have income, whatever, the rest of it. So, I hear you, but the big takeaway is don't worry about your credit score. Worry about your net worth score. That's the number we should be obsessing. That's the number, if it goes down by 20, I'd be concerned about, because that means you have $20 fewer. Like, you would much rather have $20 more than this like fancy money boy score that like the government assigns you. And so I think that's
money boy score.
Yeah. I'm a fancy money boy. And
okay. Hey, can I ask you a question, fancy money boy?
Yes.
A maybe dumb question. In the billing cycle, when do your purchases start accruing interest? Like, if you like paid for a flight, a $500 flight, and you're like, I paid for it today, May 6th, and then it charges me, like, my statement is due on June 6th. Am I accruing interest in that time? Or is it only if I wait until after that billing cycle, then it would start accruing interest?
That's a really good question. And it's really, really important to understand the answer, because I've heard some people like dramatically misunderstand that. I actually have a friend who said, I thought you don't pay any interest as long as you make the minimum payment. So like when you get your credit card bill, there's a minimum payment. So I might have a $10,000 balance and a $100 minimum payment. He said, I thought as long as I make the $100 payment, I don't pay any interest. I said, my God, man, you are dramatically misunderstanding how credit card interest works. You are paying a lot of interest, and at a very high rate, and on all $10,000 minus the $100 minimum payment you made. And so, no, it's not that. To answer your question, so let's assume that we have a clean slate, open up a brand new card. You open it on January 1st, and then for the month of January, you start charging things. And so you make every day you charge $100, and so there's 30 days, and so by the end of the month, you've charged $3,000, or there's 31 days in January, but let's just say 30 for round numbers. So you've charged 30 payments, $100 each, equally spread throughout the month. And then your bill, the month closes on the 30th. Your bill will be due sometime like February 15th or something. You'll have like a 2-week window. If you pay it on February 14th and you pay $3,000, you'll owe zero in interest. So there's zero interest that accumulates during the month, and there's zero interest that accumulates from the end of the statement period to the statement due date period. Zero interest. Interest starts accumulating the day after the due date. And so that's just like a deal that credit card companies have made with all of us. It might be enforced by law, I don't know. But they can't charge you, or they don't charge you interest until basically after you've proved to them that I'm not going to pay this thing in full. So if I pay in full by the due date, zero interest ever. And if I went back and looked at my credit card bills for the last probably 20 years, I've paid zero interest because I paid in full every single month. Like maybe once my direct deposit got broken or something, and I didn't realize it and paid a few days of interest or something. But like generally speaking, I never ever pay any interest. But I'm still getting as much as a 45-day tax or interest-free loan from the credit card company, because on January 1st, I got $100 worth of stuff. I spent the $100, but I didn't give them that money back until February 14th or whatever, like the 2 weeks after the end of the spending cycle. And so, that doesn't really mean anything to me. It's not like I'm like arbitraging that money and putting it in a high yield savings account, like making something like, that's nonsense. Like, that kind of gets into this velocity banking world, which is like literally a scam in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, it's just a convenience, which is you don't have to pay interest until after you're late.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's helpful. Yeah, it does. I did not know that.
That was like a Jen asked today, and good thing I had an answer in my head, or else we would have had to pause and I would have had to go look it up.
Well, you know what? You are a very good, what did you call yourself? Very good money boy. So I knew you
fancy, naughty money boy.
Nope, not doing that. So I knew you'd have at least a way to find the answer. At the very minimum.
I could have Googled it. But yeah, there you go. Don't worry so much about your credit score. Do pay your credit card bill in full before the due date every month. If you aren't paying in full and you're paying interest, that's a catastrophic personal finance problem, and you need to be like solving that probably first. As long as you can eat and stuff, paying off your credit card bill is like the next most important thing. And then beyond that, we should really be talking about our net worth score. We should be paying down debt, buying assets like index funds, real estate, buying more over time, letting those investments grow. That's how you get rich.
Nice. We did it. We
Another
made it.
successful episode in the books, and maybe our internet even worked this time.
Oh my God.
I recently left my bulletproof fiber optic internet at the office and now record these from home.
It's been rough. Jeremy and I are just looking at blobs because my internet's been trashed since the beginning.
Right. We both look at blobs. I see like a crystal clear image of myself, and Jen is like this like pixels that moves once every 6 seconds, like some sort of like, I don't know, like space monster or something. She's very beautiful in high definition.
Tentacles.
I don't know what it is. These 6 pixels I see, it looks very ominous.
I'm gonna start doing weird shit over here to be like, what does this look like?
Don't know what that is.
Guys, you should really watch the videos on YouTube. Don't just stick to Spotify or Apple Music. Watch us on YouTube, okay?
Spotify's got videos too. Hey, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Most of these people are listening in the car. These people, these are our people. Most of our all 4 of our valued listeners are in the car right now. No, we get like 12 views per video on YouTube.
Oh my God.
I wish I was exaggerating.
Honestly.
All right. Thanks everyone. If you want to build some wealth, you know how to do it. You follow the 2 rules of Personal Finance Club. Rule number 1, live below your means. And rule number 2, invest early and often. See you next week.
The Personal Finance Club show is produced by Jeremy Schneider and Jen Mundia. Music by Esabalu and Homie. Send your questions to podcast@personalfinanceclub.com. The Personal Finance Club show is co-hosted by Jeremy Schneider, who is a co-owner of Nectarine, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The views expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nectarine. Please refer to hellonectarine.com for all relevant disclosures. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as personalized investment advice or a solicitation to buy or sell any security. Listeners should consult their own financial, legal, or tax professionals for advice specific to their situation.